This is Advanced Tobruk System, or ATS, the Quickstart Basic Game 1, Germans versus Americans, and my little ad hoc turn marker here, or turn track here, is telling me that it is the Allies' impulse. So it's the Allies' impulse. This tells me that this unit has run this turn, and that stack has fired this turn. So I'm looking at this stack, Sergeant Walsh with some soldiers there, Sergeant Kendo, some soldiers there in this light machine gun and squad here. So what I want is I want to get Sergeant Walsh up here into the building here. Now, movement. We've got a squad with a light machine gun, and what's important here is that the squad carrying the light machine gun has its movement allowance reduced by 1 for carrying the light machine gun. Let me get this focused. There we go, to work. Alright, so that squad is going to have 1 less movement point in its allowance because it's carrying the light machine gun. We have a bar gunner. Got a bar gunner there, and then we have the leader. So the leader, if the whole stack moves, yeah, I'm going to keep them together. They don't have to stay together. I'm going to keep them together. So the stack, if they do assault movement, they would start with 4, plus 1 for the leader, 5, minus 1 for carrying the light machine gun down to 4. Well, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, so they can do it. So let's do that. So again, the squad carrying the light machine gun would be reduced to 3, but it's back up to 4 because of the leader with them. Basically, the leader counteracts the carrying of the light machine gun. So there's the stack there. So they're going to go 1. They're behind the buildings. No Germans can see them. 2. They're still behind the building and woods. And then 3, 4. I wondered about the Germans seeing them through this line here, but they've already moved, so they can't opportunity fire. This is assault movement, so they are marked with a movement arrow behind them like that to show assault movement to there. So that is the American impulse. Now we go to the German impulse. Let's go ahead and do this because of the situation. Go back to the stack that's fired. All normal personnel units are under the fired marker. They're treated as fired. However, the machine gun, because it's just an F1 marker, it's an F1 marker because it doesn't have, so that's an F1 marker. It doesn't have a 2 or a 3. It doesn't have the 2 or the 3, so it's an F1 marker. That means only one of the MG42's 3 rate of fire has been used. So the MG42 is basically going to fire again. It's going to take another rate of fire and fire at the winded troops here. Now they're no longer, they're not running now. So now they're considered assault movement. Where is that? That is clarified somewhere. It's clarified somewhere. They're not running. They're considered assault movement now. Okay. I can't remember where that's specified, but let's do it. Let's do this fire. So it is 5 at normal range. Its range is 8. Gunfire factor is a 5. Okay, so it's the 4 column. See what's applied. So now it's assault movement. The target unit there that did run is now considered assault movement posture or cover state, -1. It is in a stone building, so it's +3. So now we're at +2. Oh. I believe that the leader is still directing the fire. I don't see why it would not. These rules are way too succinct for this, but let's just go over the little bit that they have here. A leader may lead a single stack or multi-hex fire group applying the following diral modifiers: NCO, -1 DRM, officer, -2 DRM. When leading other units to fire, a leader may not use its printed... Okay, so it didn't matter range before. All these leaders are always going to be, I think anyways, they're always going to be leading these attacks, so they're not going to be... Well, I should say under normal circumstances, they're going to be leading fire attacks, so they're not going to be eligible to fire their 1 gun fire factor anyways. Leaders are marked as fired when applying leadership. Okay, so that would be correct. All of these cases. So the sergeant applied his leadership modifier to the earlier attack, so that's why he would be marked. He would be under the F marker, the fired marker. Okay. Well, gee, I guess that's basically it. So, I'm making an assumption that the leader's still influencing here. Okay. So, and Sergeant Carr, that's an NCO. All right. Ooh. Yeah. All right. So we were at -1, +2, and +1. All right. So a net +1 on the 4 columns. So we need to roll really low. Not with a 10. 10 is a miss. Way up there. All right. So, but it would be modified as we just went through. Okay. So the point is there that wasn't a very effective shot or anything, but now the fired marker is going to get changed to the fired to marker. So now that's the reminder that the machine gun, the MG42, has now used 2 of its 3 rate of fire. All right, that's that. But that was the German impulse. So now we go to the Americans, and all right. Not going to do or pretend to do anything fancy. So let's do crawling movement. We've done running. We've done assault moving. Now let's do crawling. So we always have to declare movement beforehand. Sergeant Kendo and his squad with the light machine gun declare crawling movement. All right, I was just about to say, I don't ever remember a leader adding to crawling movement, but actually I see on the table it does say leader adds 1 MP to run assault, not crawling. Okay, so 1 hex movement. So declare crawling, move 1 hex, still in the, by the way, the light machine gun is being carried by the squad because it's on top of the squad. So they crawl 1 hex in the wood building, and we denote that by putting the movement arrow. I have a ton of movement arrows, and I want just the right one. There. That was completely irrational. Put the movement arrow on top of it like that. we could even continue with our idea of putting it from the area it came from, the hex it came from, but it goes on top. That shows that it has moved with crawling movement. Now, again, not a great shot, but to use some more firing through orchards. MG42 here with a squad in the wood building in Delta 4. I believe would observe the Americans moving there. Now I guess I'll play by the rules. I declare the fire I declare the fire. Now I'm going to check line of sight by moving the units aside and checking. If in the Quickstart basic game, if this shot if it winds up being blocked, there is no fire, but the Germans are considered to have, and the units I don't think are marked fired, but the Germans have used an impulse, so the impulse would go to the Americans. Okay. Delta 4 to India 4. Okay, it's not blocked, but it does go through E4 or Echo 4 is the orchard hex, and Foxtrot 4 is an orchard hex. Doesn't matter the terrain art. They're going through 2 orchard hexes. So we will count each of those as +1 each. So cumulative +2. So we have 2 orchard hexes and the units, the target in crawl, cover state, and wood building. Okay. Real quickly, range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is okay. It's normal range for both. The Germans are firing it. They normally have a gunfire factor of 7, -1 because they're firing the MG42 for 6, plus the MG42's gunfire factor of 5 is 11. So they're rolling on the 10 column. Again, the Americans are wood. All right, go right down the list. They are in crawl. So they're going to use the 10 column. They are crawl, 0. Wood building +2. Through orchard. So that's +3 and +4. +4. Yeah, +4. Not so good. So you need to roll really low. Not with an 8. 8 +4 is 12. No effect. So again, MG42 has a rate of fire of 3. Right there, but this is the use of the first fire like that. There's still marked movement. That is the end of the American impulse. We go to the German impulse. That's such a bad shot. Not even going to bother firing with the MG. I would have to get I think I'd have to get a 1 to hold. Let's move. All right, let's talk about stacking. So I've got these Germans back here. I want them to pass through the wood building to this wood building here. So I want them to go 2 hexes through wood buildings. So this would be, again, they're going to use assault movement. They're going to use assault movement. I'm going to use assault movement. So it would be 4, but -1 for carrying the light machine gun is down to 3, +1 for the leader is 4. It's 2 per building hex, which is fine. The Americans aren't going to, well, they aren't going to do anything about this. Do still have the machine gun back there, but And actually, I should point out, there's also the bar gunner has another rate of fire there, but he probably can't see anything through the terrain there. Okay, so the Americans are not going to contest this or try to contest it. Their opportunity fire. So now the question is, let's talk about stacking. Okay, the Quickstart basic game stacking is pretty basic. 12 stacking points in a hex at any time per side, and they may never voluntarily be exceeded. So what does that mean? That means each figure, each pictorial, each individual icon, each icon of an individual soldier counts as one stacking point. So this this wooden building hex already has 3 stacking points. The 3 full-strength squad there. That's 3 for stacking points. Moving through is 3 for the squad, none for the machine gun, but 1 for the leader. So 4 stacking points are moving through a hex that already has 3 stacking points, which means that when it's there in that hex, it's 7 altogether, which does not exceed the limit of 12. So basically, they can pass through there without exceeding stacking limits, no problem. Again, assault movement. Again, the adjusted movement allowance of 4, so 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to put this like that to show assault movement for them. That's the German impulse. Now we go back to the American impulse, and not necessarily good tactics, but let's just say, as a matter of fact, actually, let's use the hill. Let's use the hill. So Americans would activate this squad carrying the light machine gun. They're going to say assault. They're going to declare assault movement. It would be 4, -1 for carrying light machine gun for 3. Movement allowance is 3. They go 1 out into the open. Now, the MG42 has 1 more rate of fire here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Germans are going to try to see if they have line of sight here. D6. Okay. I don't know what they're K4. So D6 to K4. Yeah, it is blocked by the buildings in Foxtrot 5. Hex Foxtrot 5. Yeah. That incidentally is why I want to get away from simple line of sight. But anyways, they're not observed. They're in the open. So then they go 2, 3. Going up the hill from ground level is 2. So that's 3. They had a movement allowance of 3. Oh, actually, we're going to do line of sight again. I'll just go ahead and put a marker there, but try this again. So now they're up on hill K5. Now what happens because of the elevation? actually are no obstructions. That line goes straight from Delta 6 wood buildings right down the center of the town up to the hill at Kilo 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Range of 7. So actually, I think the MG42 takes its last rate of fire, still directed by the leader, the NCO, for +1. No, +1, -1. +1, -1, -1, -1. That's better, right? All right. That F2 is going to change to an F3. The range of the MG42 is 8. Again, the range, well, I said it was 7 to Kilo 5 there. So it is on the 4 column still. 4 column. The Americans are in assault movement, cover -1, hills +1, so it's even. NCO leadership -1, so -1. Yes, -1. So 4 column -1. 4 column -1. Oh, 9 -1 is 8. No effect. So that is it. Now the MG42 there has used all 3 of its rate of fire, so that stack has no more fire attacks. Put these guys all back. They're there. Now it's to the German impulse, and now we'll say the Germans pass, then the Americans pass. That ends, well, that ends the fire and movement segment. Is that correct? Is that what they call it? The fire and movement segment. Yeah, now we go on to the close assault segment. Here, units that are non-broken may move 1 hex, including into hexes occupied by enemy units. That's infiltration. Then we conduct melee. But for this segment, we roll again for initiative. So Americans roll a 5. Germans roll a 7. So now the Americans win the initiative for infiltration movement. Yeah, now we want to get into position. Now Sergeant Walsh is going to infiltrate forward 1 hex. I guess we alternate. Do you alternating infiltration? Yeah. So Germans will. They're going to go forward 1 there. Back to the Americans. Americans are going to go there. Germans have no more infiltration. Americans infiltrate 1 forward there. And then that's all the infiltration. We have no melees yet, so there is nothing for step 2 of the close assault segment. Now we go to the end of turn segment. After all units have been fired and moved, i.e. fire and movement segment, close assault segment have been completed, remove all of the following markers. Remove fired markers. So fired marker comes off, fired 3, fired, okay. Moved markers. All the moved markers come off. And melee markers. Didn't have any melee markers. Now we go winded markers from units that placed them the previous turn and did not move this turn. No, they moved this turn. Broken markers for units that roll successfully for their removal by rallying. So now we're going to rally because we have that broken unit right there. Well, we still want to know that the squad's there. So that half squad with its current morale of 5 is broken. So we are going to look at rallying. Broken personnel units may attempt to rally during the end of turn segment if a non-broken leader. Yeah, we have Captain Weiss, is in their hex. The broken units check morale, rolling less than or equal to its morale. Broken leaders attempt to rally themselves. There's no morale modifiers and 0/0 results are applied in the same manner as normal morale checks. So we adjust the morale as normal. So it's 5 plus 1 for the squad. With them is 6 plus goes up to 7 for an adjacent squad. This leader is adjacent, doesn't apply, but the leader in does. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 for Captain Weiss. So 9. So rolls to rally. Oh, wow. Rolled a 10. Okay, double results applied normally. So, wow. Okay, wow, that is so close for a courage, but 9. Okay, so they failed. So what happens? How? Oh, I guess they just don't rally. Yeah, okay. Yeah, in this case, they just don't rally. So they're still broken. Ooh, that might hurt the German effort here, I would think. Because they're out front, I mean. Okay. So that was rallying. We're still in the end of turn segment. All other markers remain in play, like the winded marker there. And that is the end of the first turn. I'll move my turn marker there.